Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm seeing that I'm coming in clear, so let's hope that the audio gods are kind today because the other gods are not. What's up, everyone? My name is Bendy Mitchell. I am your humble story master today with Obsidian Brews, and we are doing KULT Divinity Lost, a homebrew that is based on true events. I will allow my two players for today to introduce themselves. We unfortunately are missing Tranquil Ashes, but she fortunately is at DreamCon having a grand old time, so we miss her dearly, but she will be back for episode 2. As I said, my name is Bendy. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm your story master, and starting with Rob.
Hello, I'm Robert Madison II. My pronouns are he, him. I will be playing Marcus Hill. His pronouns are he, him, and very, very tired.
And Matt.
Hey there, hi there, hello there. My name is Matt, also known as Resmonk on many places. But today, I'll be playing Hercule on the phone. He's a bit of a detective journalist.
Great. So today we have Hercule and Marcus, the detective and the prophet. For those who don't know, KULT Divinity Lost, my intro was in front of me. KULT Divinity Lost is a tabletop RPG that we are playing today that is built in horror and nightmarish creatures. Essentially, mankind is trapped in an illusion, held captive by our prisoners. We cannot see the great citadels of Metropolis towering over our highest skyscrapers. We cannot hear the screams from the cellar hidden stairs take us to. We cannot smell the blood and burnt flesh from those poor souls sacrificed to long-forgotten gods in lost alleys. We feel isolated, alone, and try our utmost to stay away from the dangers, the darkness of the city we dwell in. Some of us, like our two unlikely heroes here, experience glimpses of from beyond the veil. We have this strange feeling that something is not right. The ramblings of a madman in the subway seem to carry a hidden message. The since long closed down slaughterhouse we pass every day has freshly blood-stained in front of it, and our reclusive neighbor doesn't appear to be completely human in certain angles. By slowly discovering the truth about our prison, our captors, and our hidden pasts, we can finally awaken from our induced sleep and take control of our destiny. This particular homebrew that we have created together, that I am story mastering, is called Suffer the Little Children. It is based on the true events of Pennhurst Asylum. In the description, you can find more information and resources. I'm going to attempt to stay as true as possible as I can to the actual events in order to honor those who have suffered. During our prologue, we did go over the horror contract. We do say viewer discretion advised. There are going to be several pretty disturbing elements that are specifically going to come up today. That involves mental health and trauma, abuse, harm against the children, elderly, and animals, assault, gore, language, involuntary drug use, ableism, unaliving, and drowning. So please, if this becomes too much for you, take a step away, come back, or stay with us, whichever you please. But as we begin, I don't know if there is anything else the two of you would like to tell about your characters before I jump back in.
Good. They shall see.
Shall see. Yes. Well, as I said in our prologue, I will be starting with Matt. Now, on August 27th, 1994, you got off the train at Penn Station here in Philadelphia, looking to crash with your estranged wife, Nancy. It's possible your two college-age children, Virgil and Angela, could be home. They could not. You and Nancy have not been in great communication with one another. The strange occurrences started to happen as soon as you got off the train. There was what looked like a homeless man at the station telling you about dreams he's had about you. Little children on corners staring strangely into the darkness, pointing to something unknown. What could it be? One moment. Okay, sorry, our YouTube is down. Give me one moment. Let me just make sure that the YouTube is up and working. One moment. At least Twitch got the intro. My apologies to YouTube, but for some reason the YouTube is not working, though it says we are streaming. Give me 2 seconds to check that. Okay, we are live. All right, well, aside from that, if you are on our YouTubes, I think give it a refresh, we should be good. But, so, Hercule, you have found your way to Nancy, and she has driven you back home. You slept on the couch. She gave you a blanket from one of your anniversaries, but you don't read too much into it because she's not one to be sentimental, at least not now. You went to sleep on the couch, Hercule, but when you awaken, your eyes are still closed, and you can feel a light dripping on your forehead. Opening your eyes, you're not greeted with the familiar popcorn ceiling of the townhome you once shared with Nancy. No, you're greeted by a faded and cracked seafoam green ceiling. A light fixture sits in a cage. It flickers on and off as it blows in the howling wind coming from a window just beyond your eyesight. You notice, though, that you are bound to this bed that you are on. Your hands are restrained tightly, and your feet, ankles are restrained even tighter. As you move, you can hear the rattle of the chain. And what do you do?
Let's see. Well, I could probably stay next a little bit. I'm looking kind of at the chain on his arm. As I study the room, well, very weird. Back. Went to sleep, right? Tries to get whatever he can out of it. Looking through
Sorry, could you repeat that? I'm so sorry. I'm having trouble with your mic.
He tries to look wherever he can in the room, try and see what he can find. Is there anything else in here?
So as you're looking around the room, give me an observe. Actually, no, I'm just gonna let you know what's around the room, what you can see. So as you tilt your head to the left, across the way from you, you can see a hospital bed. And in the darkness, you can see a figure that is also shackled to that bed. It appears to be a little boy. When you tilt your head up towards the open window, you can see in the darkness, dimly lit buildings, larger Jacobean architecture. It's older stone, and from what you can see, there's just nothing but building after building, and it's almost like you're in like a campus. Tilting your head even further back over your shoulder, you see something that actually is familiar to you. There is a little radio sitting on a tiny wooden bench and a chalkboard above it. And crudely written on that chalkboard, you see it says, Jackie Robinson Stats, 1956. And you can see someone is tracking the numbers of Jackie Robinson. It's not quite complete yet. And as you take a look at this, I'm just gonna let you remember it. You're hit with this familiarity. And you realize looking at it, the crudeness of the chalk, the letters. This was a chalkboard similar to one that your father had. And how he would meticulously track the stats of baseball players. And even as a child, you knew that he would track all of his favorites. It was something that it was almost an obsession of his. Do you attempt anything else while you're looking around? Do you want to try for anything?
Does he look like himself?
I'm sorry?
Does he look like himself? Kind of look around.
You look down at your arms, and you know, as you look down and you shift, you notice that the bed beneath you is wet, and this just invasive smell of urine and feces fills your nostrils. And as you're trying to like look down at yourself and the light flickers, you see that your arms look relatively your skin tone, but they are smaller, frailer. You can see that they're pocked with sores and somewhat healed scratches and sutures crudely putting your skin back together from whatever wounds that you may have endured. But you think it could be your arms. Maybe, but it wouldn't make sense that they would look so frail and young. Neither would your situation make any sense to you at all.
Let's try and then see if he can maybe wiggle a hand free.
Wiggle a hand free. Okay. Let's see what would work with that. Give me an avoid harm roll. So that is a 2d10 plus your reflexes.
Hit 2d10?
Yes. Plus whatever your reflexes are, which I have...
A 1 and a 2.
A 1 and a 2. So you got 3. And your reflexes are... I did just have that right in front of me. What is your reflex modifier?
2.
Sorry, what was that?
2.
2. Okay, so you had 3 plus 2, 5. Okay, so you're at a 5. Okay, so you attempt to wiggle. Music is a tad too loud. Got it. I am so sorry. Let me turn the music down, folks. Great. So you try to wiggle your arm free, and because it seems as though you have fresh sutures in your wrist. As you attempt to pull it out of the restraint, you rip open the stitches, and this raw wound kind of starts leaking out, and you can see that the blood is starting to like discolor the bandages, and you can hear faintly across the room, "You shouldn't be doing that. You should be asleep."
Who is that? Looks towards the voice.
And you turn your head back towards the other figure in the room, and you see the little boy is on his back, and he's not quite looking at you, so you can't quite make out his face. You just kind of see a little bit of a profile to him, and he doesn't respond directly to your question, but you hear him say, "This is a big place where all people go when they die. You should go back to bed."
Not dead.
Are you dead?
No.
Am I dead?
What day is it?
You should go back to sleep. And you hear someone approaching the door. The loud click of heels down a ceramic hallway, and the jingling of keys. And finally, the little boy turns his head to you, eyes black as night. "He's coming. Go back to sleep or he'll take you to Dr. Fear." "You have to be quiet." So do you attempt to pretend to be asleep?
If the door opens, yeah. You said there's a door, right?
The door hasn't opened yet. You can hear the footsteps are getting closer. You probably have a good 45 seconds, maybe at max.
He'll trying to lay his head down and just wink, one eye open, looking at the kid. Who
What was the question for the kid?
are you talking about?
Okay, give me a... You can either give me an observe a situation or an investigate. I do know also on your sheet, though, with some of your advantages, you have more investigative things that you can utilize.
Yeah.
So it is either if you want to do a reason or a perception roll.
Reason.
Okay.
Reason. 2d10?
Yep, 2d10 plus reason.
Ooh. The line on top, or is it on the bottom? Sure if I got a 6 one.
Bottom. Mine's on the bottom.
Yeah.
On the bottom? That's just a 6. Yeah, 6 and a 5.
6 and a 5. Okay, so that's 11. What's your reason?
My reasoning is 3.
Ooh, 14.
Mixed success.
Okay. You may ask your question, but the information comes at a cost. All right, so what is your question again? The full question for the child.
Who who is the person that kid mentioned? I just forgot the name.
So who's coming?
Yeah, who's coming? Who's that thing that they're talking about?
He doesn't... He doesn't like it when we call him by his name. You should already know that. You've been here longer than me. Now be quiet. He's coming.
Tell me about it later.
And as the kid says that, he attempts to go back to, like, pretend he's back to sleep. So you see him, like, wince his eyes closed and, like, turn his head back over. And the keys come, and you can hear them jingling against the big metal door to this cell that you're in. And you hear the loud click of the bolt unlocking. And as the door creaks open, so close your eyes, and I'm gonna have you give me an act under pressure roll. So that is a 2d10 plus your coolness.
Ooh. I got 10 and 10. That's 0, right? And I
You got a 10 and a 10?
Yeah.
Well, that's
10,
that's
0,
a
0.
Perfection.
perfection. Okay, 2 10s. I love that energy. Okay, you
Minus
don't even have to
1.
add your coolness because you're already past the what you intend to do. So you pretend to sleep like your life depended on it. You are so aware of your breathing. Even another roach like skitters up to your cheek, and kind of like you can feel its antenna like nuzzling at your nostrils, but you know that you can't move. You keep your eyes closed as you hear the door swing open and the heavy footsteps approach you. And we're gonna attempt to have some fun here. Okay. Oh. Lawrence. You should be in bed. Asleep. Shouldn't you? And you can hear as it says that you dare not open your eyes, because you can hear it say Lawrence across the room as it's approached the other little boy, and you hear a thwack of a heavy wooden object striking the child and striking the bed, and you can hear him cry out in pain. No, no, no. We can't have that. Off to Dr. Fear with you. And you can hear the child going, no, please, please, no, I'll be good, I'll be good, I'll be good, please. But you can hear the unshackling of the child and the throwing of chains, and you can hear his bare feet smacking against the tile beneath as he's dragged out of the room, and you can hear him going, no, please, as he's resisting, and you can hear down the hall cackling and howls and moaning and people yelping in pain. And then it's silent. You don't hear the door close behind him. The screams and yells fade away. Do you dare open your eyes?
I have to keep one eye open slightly just to see if this coast is clear. Sort of.
As you slowly open your eye just a bit, you can see the large metal door is open. It could possibly be a chance for you to try again and get out of your restraints. But because your wrist is still bleeding and open, you do have not a serious wound, but you're on your way. Actually, yes, you have a serious wound that gives you a -1 going forward. So your left arm is bloodied and ripped open, but you still haven't been able to get it out of the restraint. Do you want to keep attempting to get out?
Doesn't seem like there's anybody nearby yet.
I'm sorry?
If it doesn't seem like there's anyone nearby, then yeah.
Okay. So give me another avoid harm.
5, 3, and lose reflexes.
Reflexes, yes, but you also get a -1. So 5, 6,
So just +1 because I have +2 for reflexes.
So you got an 8?
Yeah.
Oof, okay.
+1,
So you tug, and you tug even harder, and you can hear the ripping of your skin, and you can hear, like, as you pull as hard as you can, your thumb dislocates against the restraint, and you're able to remove your arm, but you have a dislocated finger now and a wrist that is open and bleeding. And you attempt to kind of sit up a bit, but because your left hand is still restrained to the bed, you can't quite get up without ripping that wound open more. And you hear in the hallway a snickering as you hear someone almost jumping from tile to tile back and forth as they come towards you. And faintly you hear na 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 da, as the skipping is getting closer and closer to you. And actually, we'll pause there for Hercule. And we'll cut over from wherever you are currently, whether it's in this world or another, and we will go to where Marcus is, awakening in his bed. Everything seemingly perfectly normal for you this morning, but you're still shaken from a visitor you had the night before. The old woman on your porch, with something familiar about her, and her begging you to do something about her son who's being held captive. It's still an unsettling feeling to you, but you attempt to shake it off and start your morning routine. What are some parts of your morning routine?
Wake, that's fine. Go downstairs, go over to kitchen. I should have washed dishes last night, but that's fine. Wash a cup, drink some water, then probably make some coffee. I need that now.
Okay.
No, I'll have some food that'll hold. Some fruit, cereal. Eat that while pouring over one of my books I had from the library. That's a decent way to start the morning.
As you're in the preparation of your coffee, you take a moment and you realize, with the peculiarity of your night, you didn't do your usual nightly routine and take a bath. You, in your almost depressive state since leaving the church, you tend to forget often that bathing is part of your normal routine, and you can kind of smell yourself a bit.
Ugh. Yeah. So I'll turn off the kettle. Bath first, then coffee. Yeah, sure. I go to the bathroom. I need to get a shower. I hate taking baths. This is all I got, so can't be. Gotta not smell me. So I'll just start running the water. Just get ready and then sort of slowly, gingerly get in because it is hotter than it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get it right ever. Plumbing in here is crap. That's fine. I'll just sit here. You know what? Give myself a second to think. Breathe for a second. Maybe that'll be helpful. I don't know.
You take some time and mull over the things that have been gnawing at you the night before, your decision to leave, everything. And you're in the bath for what feels like ages. And when you rise out of the water, you meet the eyeline of your window, and you see down towards your front door that a nun is outside your door. But not only that, it's someone you knew from your days with the cloth.
Oh.
It's Sister Delaney. And she's staring right up at you in the window, as if she knew at that moment you would be standing up to look down at her.
That's oddly disturbing. I'm naked in a bath. Okay.
Well, she can only see your face, but still, it's the...
Ever been naked in a bath and someone's looking at you and you're like,
yeah.
You shouldn't be seeing me right now.
Right. It's strange that she would be looking directly up at that window at that time.
Yeah. Okay. I'll sort of hurry out and make myself presentable, put on my shirt and pants and sort of go down to the door.
Okay. You open the door and you clearly know that this is Sister Delaney. But something is off. Somehow it feels to you like something is missing. As if the woman you knew is not exactly the woman in front of you. But it could be now that she's older and you haven't seen her in a few years. Maybe it's her first time leaving the cloister in quite some time. She was always your elder. But even in her years, when one would seem slower as they get older, her movements seem off to you. Almost too quick. Insect-like even. You see as she kind of turns her head towards you. Good morning, Father Marcus.
Sister, it's always a pleasure to see you. What brings you here?
May I call upon you, Father Marcus? May I come in?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Sure. Come in. Excuse the mess. I was not expecting visitors today.
I have a question for you, Father. And she makes her way in, and the way that she moves beneath her habit and her robes, it's almost as if she's gliding. You know, it could be her small feet are skittering so fast beneath, but it's a strange kind of sight for you. She glides in, what seems to be gliding, and takes a seat at your kitchen table.
You like some coffee? Tea?
You offer her coffee, tea, and she just stares at you. And her head kind of cocks a little to the side, and she says, "How has your faith been?"
Oh, I guess we're going right into it. What do you mean by that particular question? By faith? It's, since I left? Or is this a general question?
The question is simple, Marcus. How has your faith been?
Sword Master, would this be a normal question she would used to ask me?
Give me a read a person.
Okay.
So that would be your 2d10 plus intuition.
Okay. So 2d10 plus 0. That is a 7 plus 9. That's 18. So success.
Success? Okay.
Yes.
You do remember that Sister Delaney was always a bit of a strange bird. This line of questioning, while uncomfortable, you feel as maybe it's because she's just getting far up there in age, and it feels normal but not normal to you. And you're trying to brush it off because, you know, she is just, you know, she's a nun. Not much ever is to be anticipated or expected from them being off. It could be just that she's old or spent far too much time on a vow of silence. But she sees your confusion, and she looks at you and says, "You know, often the fly never knows where the webs are."
That's true. That's why they tend to get stuck in them.
That's true. So I ask you again, Father Marcus, truthfully, how has your faith been?
Well, I'll say it's been a bit difficult. Before, before I left, I could expect my prayers to at least be met with kind ears. Now, if I do pray, most times it's met with silence, and sometimes, well, I guess those are the times that scare me.
You say this and you look at her, And for the briefest of moments, you almost see a crack of a smile playing at her old, frail lips. But it quickly kind of dissipates, and she says, "That's a shame. Come, Father. Why don't you take a walk with me? We have much to discuss."
Oh, um, okay. Where are we going?
And as you say that, she gets up, glides back out to the front door, and waits for you on your porch. You feel like it's almost, you're incapable of saying no. You're almost kind of entranced by this unexpected visit from someone who you used to know dearly.
Right. Okay. Coffee in my travel container, little travel mug. Wasn't expecting to leave the house now. Okay. Guess I'll grab my coat and my hat. And it's interesting looking at Marcus. Anyone who's seen me previously, before I left, would know, like, have the black shirt and the collar, and now it just seems like there are pieces and like across a chain and things that would adorn himself. Now all those pieces are missing, so it's sort of just like him in a black shirt and dark pants, and like he just puts on the coat on a regular jacket and just leaves the house. I'm bringing my coffee. Where are we going? What is it you need to speak about?
She just starts walking.
Oh.
And as you kind of stumble to catch up with her, even for August, the air seems colder. And even for the early morning, the sky a bit darker. And you walk with her for a bit, and you see that she's keeping pace with you, but she's almost always a half step behind you, kind of fading in and out of your peripheral. And every step you take is a bit unnerving. And after some moments of silence, she says, "Father, do you remember the children?"
Do I know the children of which she's speaking of? Because I feel like that wouldn't leave my brain.
So it was mentioned in the prologue that for a period of time you had worked at
those kids
as a chaplain at Pennhurst, the state school. And from your memory, you know that all of the staff considered everyone there, whether adult or child, the children. So you kind of remember this in your mind. You don't answer her right away because you kind of take a second to be like, the children. And she continues, "The ones who were coherent enough to ask questions about God?"
Yeah. We don't really forget that.
And she kind of snickers a bit to herself, and as if he could have existed in a place like Crab Hill.
Hold on. So you're, and I sort of just like I stop walking for a second and just sort of turn to look at Sister Delaney. What? Excuse me? Sit. He could. Why? Why? Why would you say that?
She looks at you and she's expressionless. I can see why you left your faith.
But, yeah, see, no. But you're putting this on me. You said that. I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, for someone who spent so much time with the children, how can we have God exist and a place like Pennhurst exist? Eh? The things we witnessed, the depravity of our fellow man, it's enough to... And she, like, shakes her hands, and you can see her bony fingers as she, like, swells them up and says, it's enough to shake the foundations of any man of faith. Even the wall of Jericho were vulnerable. What good is a man's will and faith in the face of such adversity?
Yeah. You are not wrong. We should have did better. We saw it. We should have did better. So we have. Wait, hold on. You're saying, damn it. You were there too.
I was.
What?
Just as you were. I remember the children filing into the pews, fresh from that little yellow school bus that clinked and clanked down the hill. The choir, the hymns. She closes her eyes as she holds her hands to her chest, thinking of it. All praying to a God that wasn't listening. At least not the God they wanted.
Oh, whoa. Sister, I haven't seen you in a while since I left. What have you still, are you still part of the mission? Are you still part of the church? Or, I guess, or just more similar to myself at this particular point in time.
Give me a read person.
Oh, okay, not bad. With intuition, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Intuition. That is a 12. It's a mixed success.
12. Okay. And which, you get to ask the one of those questions. So you're asking if...
I would... It's a sort of a mixture of questions. Because it's like... My question is, are you a part of the church? Like, are you still a part of the church? Like, are you... Because I know I've left.
Right.
I know I'm no longer... the beliefs we had before no longer hold for me. And the way she has been talking to me, it very much seems like she's in the same boat that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to read on whether she's still part of the church and speaking to me in a way that's sort of technically would be blasphemous
Mm-hmm.
if you're part of the church, or if she's going, or if she's not a part of the church, and then it's just like, whoa, where'd this come from? And
Right.
how did you come to me, type of thing.
Right. So
That's
you
fair.
you ask this, and it kind of like you can see it's registering like that. You like she's in front of you and she can hear the things you're saying to her and the questions that you're asking, and one would think that she would be, you know, forthwith with her responses, but as you look at her and you ask that question, there's this sense of dread kind of in the back of your mind, like you're being watched, that this conversation is so uncomfortable and strange that there's this kind of feeling of danger, which you think maybe it could be the lack of sleep or the strange occurrences that have been happening lately, or maybe she's just old. But you ask her this question and she looks to you and then kind of looks off in the distance and says, "That place proved that if God is real, he hates us. You know of the God I speak. We all know. The God known as despair." And her eyes are wide as she's kind of like looking kind of in the middle distance, not as if she's actually looking at anything, that she's kind of entranced in her own mind. And she kind of stops and goes, "Any visitors lately?"
Uh, um, I'm gonna guess you're not speaking of regular friendly visits like yourself, correct? Because most people leave me alone recently. You would definitely count as a visitor. Um, some neighbors do tend to check on me, make sure I am okay.
"Father Marcus,
Uh,
you know of the kind of visitor I speak of." And as she says that, we will pause there and cut back to Hercule. Hercule, you hear this strange singing, as if your cellmate wasn't just dragged off to some torturous corner of this whatever building you're in. And you have one arm free, the other bleeding. You could possibly try to position your thumb back into place against the rail of the bed, get it useful again to start working on your feet. Or you could attempt to remove the other arm, further causing more harm to yourself. What is your thinking on where to go next with this?
Sound like that person is coming towards me.
Yes, like it sounds as if they're down a long hallway, and there's kind of this echo as you hear them kind of like in this half-step stutter, like they're skipping from tile to tile down the hallway.
try to get my phone, please.
Okay. Give me an endure injury, which is a fortitude minus your 1 harm.
Okay, so 0 minus 1. Got 3.
3?
Yeah.
Just a 3?
Yep.
Throw the dice out.
Yeah, get new dice, bro. Come on now.
All right, with a 3. Wow. So I'm looking at endure injury for y'all and the folks at home, and one of the options that I can choose is literally just for him to die. I'm not going to do that, but I find it really interesting that when you fail this roll, an option is to just die. But we're going to go a different route. So you try to like snap your thumb back into place and okay, we'll do this. So you crack it in such a way that it just sears pain through you. Like you almost see complete of red. And as you go to like flail back on on the bed in pain, it's almost like as your head hits the pillow, you fall through your bed. And your head kind of like slams back on it. And in an instant, you're no longer in this strange room with all of this pain and wounds. No, you're back on the couch. And you're drenched in sweat. And you kind of like come to and take a moment and notice that your senses start to come back. You're back in the townhouse. You can hear the sizzle of bacon in the kitchen and Nancy rustling around. You hear the sounds of your children kind of bickering in the kitchen. Give it back! No, that one was mine. No, come on, seriously. And your senses kind of come back to this plane that quite possibly was just a nightmare. What do you do?
Get up and look around real quick. Pat myself.
Look around?
Check my fingers.
Check.
Okay.
So you take a look at your fingers and you notice like your thumb's fine, your hand is fine, but there's this kind of like red markings. Like, you know those markings when you sleep too hard and there's like, you know, like the indents of the covers and it's kind of red. You've got that distinctly around both your wrists. But even as you're waking up and you're kind of rubbing your hand against them, they're starting to disappear. You hear Angela yell, "Stop!" And Nancy go, "You're going to wake your father. Can you please act like normal children? You're not even children anymore. Come on now."
The kid's up his head. I'm gonna go get some water.
Okay. So you head in to get some water, and everyone kind of looks up at you, and Angela takes a moment and goes, "Dad, you look like hell."
Woke up on the wrong side. How you guys doing?
Virgil takes a second. "Dad, are you having nightmares again?"
It's... Come here. He goes to gives them hugs and everything.
One more time.
He says, that's nothing, and then he goes over to them and kind of gives his kids a hug in the back, you know.
You kind of, like, you shrug off his question and give them hugs, and they kind of half-heartedly hug you. It's been a few years since you've seen either of them.
Yeah.
Angela is in her second years of allied health professional work. She's nursing. She's a nursing student, while Virgil is a law major. The pair of them are kind of home during the summer before school starts, and you're kind of out of touch with them. You don't really know anything about their activities, their friends, their interests. You just know that they're in school, that they're doing fine, and that Nancy's really been the parent that's in most touch with them during this time period.
Okay.
So,
Kind of do the whole asking about school to pass the time, change the subject.
so you ask them, and Angela goes, I mean, school's great. Been learning a lot about health, and, you know, I'm taking these classes on, like, disability rights, and it's been pretty decent, like, cool to learn about. I actually really wanted to go to that, meeting later, if that's okay, Dad. I know you're going to do, like, reporting, but I thought it could maybe help with some of my classes, and, maybe I could learn a little something. Because I know that they're going to be discussing all the homeless people and stuff in Philly. So if it's cool, I'd like to go.
Sure thing. We'll just call us when we get there. You know, a friend with you.
I'm sorry.
He said, yes, call us when you get there, or have go with a friend and let us know you're going. You know, Jill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'll let you know when I'm there. Mom, this was great. I'm gonna go finish getting washed up and get my day going. And she kind of, like, hurries off. It was almost as if she was, like, hopeful that you would say, like, yeah, come with me, that she could go with you, but, like, she could tell there was kind of, like, that distance there, and uncomfortably ran upstairs. You've never really been one to, like, have a healthy relationship with your children. There's obviously distance there. There's distance between you and your wife and your kids, so it's like, how would you react to her having this kind of, like, anxious reaction to you?
Not sure, because it's just like we're waking up. We're like, yeah, sure, okay.
Okay. So, and Virgil kind of, like, watches his sister go, and so, Dad, any cool new stories you're working on? Any pieces that I can, you know, look out for in the paper?
See how forward it's going to be about and stuff. For now, you probably just tell him about what he's working on. And then maybe talk to Nancy about it, or he talks to his kids about what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So you kind of, like, dismiss him a little bit, and, you know, Nancy's working on, you know, getting your plate ready for you. And she's like, well, aren't you working on that big case that's going to be going on later on today? I mean, your daughter wants to go with you. I mean, that's going to be, like, a huge thing for you, right?
Yeah. I just got in now. But they just want to, you know, spend time first before getting to work. Kind of. Yeah, I guess she can go.
And, like, Nancy kind of, like, stops, and you see her do something you've seen her do probably a dozen, more than a dozen, probably, countless times. She kind of, like, looks forward and takes a deep sigh as if she's trying to, like, regulate any emotions she has about the way that you respond to your children. And just kind of, like... Virgil, I know you need to borrow the car to finish up that summer reading assignment at the library, right? He kind of goes, yeah, I do. Dad, if you want to maybe come with me, I can take you, pick up... If Angela's coming with later, I could pick her up, and I can drop you off at the city council meeting. I got bowling league tonight, so, I can... help out any way I can.
Sure. That'll work.
Okay.
How's that bowling, Lieutenant?
It's going pretty good. I won my first trophy last week, and
Great.
came with a pretty decent cash prize, so I can, finally start looking into getting myself a car. I've been saving up for law school. Classes have been going great there. You didn't ask that, but yeah, that's going well too.
I was gonna ask about law school later. You're kind of just want to relax first before I talk about anything serious,
Oh,
But,
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to, sure. I'm gonna go get ready and
all right.
see if Angela's done in the bathroom. Thanks, Mom. It was great. Love you. And he goes to give her a kiss on the cheek and kind of scurries out as well. And Nancy plates up your food and kind of like drops it on the table with a little bit more of a clang, and she's like, I understand you just woke up, but would it kill you to take any interest in your kids?
No. I suppose it could be more. I just had a weird thing. Tone about, nonsense going on. As soon as I get back,
Forget it. Enjoy your breakfast. And she removes her apron and, like, tosses it over a chair, and she also leaves the room. And you are left alone at the table.
Yeah, get something to drink. Maybe I don't know if you got water before you drink.
Can you move your mic a little bit towards your mouth? I'm so sorry.
We'll get something to drink and then sit down and start eating.
Okay. All right. So you're eating alone, and you happen to notice the paper is sitting on the table, and a huge headline that it reads, "Streets filled with children. What will the mayor do?" And you can see images of the alleyway, like an alleyway, much like the one you saw the night before, full of vagrants and homeless people kind of like sitting and just strewn bodies just strewn about in the picture. And you can see there are small children kind of like dotting it, half clothed and dirty and, fingers in their mouths, just kind of staring at the photographer. And this is what's present to you on the front of the newspaper. Do you pick it up? Do you want to take a look at it more?
Yeah, I pick up the paper, open it up as I'm reading, trying to try and peruse it.
So as you peruse it, you start to see more of this story talking about the wave of homelessness and crime that's taking over Philadelphia, and how it's the worst it's been in almost 2 decades. that some speculate that since the institution of Pennhurst closed, that it's been rising at a rapid pace. And people can't quite figure out what it is. It's almost as if, like, and the author of the article was like a plague upon Philadelphia. And that everyone is searching for answers. And hopefully someone out there can help put the pieces together as to why things are happening the way they're happening.
I'll take some notes on it. You know, to ask questions during the town hall.
During the town hall?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Do you want to do any investigative work before going to the town hall, find out anything, or like what exactly would be Hercule's plan between now and 6 p.m. tonight? I'd say it's probably like 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Let's see. Saturday? Sunday? What day is it?
It is, I believe it's a Friday. It's a Friday.
Okay.
You got in Thursday night, so it's Friday.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll ride around one of those kids or something, and then try and yeah, refresher on the town and what's going on.
Okay. So, from what you gathered, both, you know, Angela's got some work to do, or Angela doesn't really, you didn't know exactly what's going on with her, but Virgil's going to be headed to the library. So you can probably hop a ride with him to the public library and maybe scurry about downtown. So, so you finish up your food and, you know, you hear Virgil kind of come back downstairs. Hey, Angela's gonna stay here, probably head out with some friends of hers later. Do you want to get washed up and head out with me?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Cool, yeah. Cool. I'll be in the study. I just gotta gather up some stuff. So just let me know when you're ready.
All right.
Cool. Hey, Dad?
Yeah.
How's Louisiana been treating you? Good?
It's been okay. As you get older, you realize the best place is really where it is.
Yeah.
That's it all.
Yeah, that makes a lot. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to keep bothering you. I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just let me know when you're ready. And he kind of like nervously goes into the study.
Well, I'll get changed.
Okay.
Come out and meet him.
All right, so you get yourself ready, and you go to head out. You go to head out with Virgil, and it's about like a 10-15 minute ride to the library. And for the first part of the ride, like, it's complete silence. Virgil's got like both hands on the wheel in this kind of like anxious, lean forward, focused way, and he hasn't said a word to you. And after a couple minutes of this, do you try to start a conversation with him?
Once he seems to relax and have a more comfortable pace to his driving, start a conversation.
So you don't want to talk to your kid?
Well, yeah, he wouldn't. Wait until you have a good moment.
Like, oh, he's doing fine driving. There's no need to bother him. So yeah, like it's it's clear that you're not going to start a conversation. It's clear that he's not going to start a conversation. So it's kind of like this like awkward silence between the two of you before he finally like cuts on the radio. And you can hear the news report of, good morning, Philadelphia. It's about 81 degrees outside today, and unfortunately, there was another murder last night in South Philadelphia. I know we keep having to talk about this. It's almost a nightly occurrence at this point, but I do believe our dear mayor will have something to say about it this evening. I'll be there. Will you be there? And just keep in mind, the Phillies are going to be playing. Ball game is going to be postponed to Sunday, so make sure you get your tickets. And Virgil just kind of starts like seeking through the stations, like just kind of turning the knob, and you can hear like music and like more news reports, and and you hear kind of like as it goes through, it's like, drug addiction at an all-time high turns, to another one, prison overcrowding. So like you can get this idea that like just things are just dire in Philadelphia, and Virgil is just kind of whatever to it. It's just a normal day cycling through the stations as like all of these awful things are being kind of conveyed on the radio. So finally,
I'll take notes on that. And then
okay.
It's kind of rough about here, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been real bad. Mom doesn't like Angela to go out at night anymore. And, a couple kids from Temple went missing. And it's just, I don't know, man, Philly's just changing. So we're all just kind of struggling to, I don't know, keep up. Try to maintain some semblance of life here. A lot's changed since you left, Dad.
Yeah. Sometimes it's nature of it's like there's something else going on here. It's not very reminiscent of the city of brotherly love.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, Dad. Yeah, I guess there's not much brotherly love going on anymore, huh?
Say, you wanna try and catch that game you were talking about on the radio?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. I thought you didn't even like baseball, Dad.
I like spending time with this.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. And like as he's driving, he's like looking at you, like after you say like you want to spend time, and like he takes his eyes off the road, and he's like staring at you. And since you're kind of pointed forward, you see a small child running out in front of the vehicle. So you point it out, and he's like, oh, and he like screeches to a halt and kind of swerves the car a little bit. So like the kid kind of just like freaked out in the street, and he swerves his vehicle. Car behind you starts honking like crazy, and Virgil kind of like screeches to a stop with the car kind of like turned to the side. You hear the guy behind you, what the hell's the matter with you? And Virgil's just kind of like, holy shit. I'm so sorry, Dad. I didn't see him. I'm so sorry. I swear I'm a good driver. I haven't had any issues with my testings or anything like.
That's all.
Focus. Yeah, you're right. I gotta be more focused. You're right. I'm really sorry. We're almost there, anyways. Yeah. So he, kind of gets himself back to like a space of like, okay, I can do this, and starts driving again. And the closer you get to the library, the more you see, what happened? The more you see, more homeless people are just kind of strewn about, just sleeping on the cement, and you know, kids just everywhere, and it's just this idea of like, where are their parents also on the street? Like, what is happening? Like, it's just this overwhelming feeling. And could you please give me a see through the illusion?
Got 1 and a 4, and I have a -2.
Okay.
Great.
All right. So as you're kind of looking about, oh, I missed a mess. Close. Sorry, guys. I totally just did that. How do I get rid of this? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So as you're looking at all of these, like, just people on faces in the street, the car kind of comes to a stop, and right outside the library on the steps is the same vagrant you saw last night outside Penn Station. The one who said that he had seen you in his dreams, but you were dead. And how his voice had changed, and how today, even looking at him, there's something more sinister about his looks. Something not of this world. And the more you look at the faces of those all strewn about the streets, you can see, like, there's something not quite right about their faces as well. As if they're more animal than human. But Virgil doesn't seem to notice, and he parks his car and gets out and goes in the back to pick up his books, and you know, gets ready to head in. So, Hercule, what do you do?
I got a notepad and some notes about the receipt. That hide that somewhere else.
Okay. Do you head inside, or do you want to try to approach the person from last night?
I'll try to approach the person from last night.
Okay.
Hey.
So go ahead.
How's it going? You remember me?
Can't say that I do.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, have a good one. Put $1 in his cup.
And when you put $1 in his cup, when you reach in to do it, he quickly snaps and grabs your wrist. And his head is low. And you hear... let me see if I can try to do this one more time.
Behold, the servant of the damned, herald of lies, bringer of flies.
And he continues to hold your wrist in place, and his head is down low as he says this.
Ooh. What? Looks around. What's going on? Like, you're different from before.
She has come to feast.
Yeah.
She has come to lay with maggots, to drink the blood of the innocent, to consume the souls of the unclean. I see the world, for it is truth. This is pandemonium, and you are its herald.
And he finally looks up at you, and his eyes kind of like flicker and change, and then there's like fear on his face. And he looks at you and he's like, lies, filth, worm, lies, filth, worm. And he keeps repeating it over and over, louder and louder as he's holding your arm. And as he's getting louder and louder, you see this nurse come running out of the library, and she's like, excuse me, what are you doing to him? Speaking directly to you.
Rolls up the dollar. Puts it in the cup.
Don't give him money. Did you approach him? Did he approach you? Like, what?
I was just gonna give him money.
He's one of my group home patients. He tends to yell strange things sometimes. I'm sorry. I thought you were harassing him, but clearly it's the other way around. My apologies.
It's fine. In the past, in some other cultures, they had those who could see other things, herald stuff that cultures used to think.
She kind of like looks at you confused and is like, what?
Never know. Maybe seeing stuff we can't see.
I mean, I highly doubt that. He's been in institutions his entire life.
Well, sometimes people don't see the way we see things, or do the way we do things, and maybe they just see the world.
Sounds like you need to be in one of my group homes. Anyway, we have to go. Again, I'm sorry that he bothered you. And she, like, attempts to, like, get him up off the steps. And, goes to, like, scurry off away with him. Now, with that, why don't we take a brief break? We've got one more scene to go through. But until then, let's take a quick break so that we can hydrate and do all the things. And we will be back in 10 minutes. So thank you for being here with us, and we shall return. Hello, and welcome back. Took our nice little break, and now that we've returned, we will continue on with Father Marcus. Okay. Now, where we left Father Marcus, Sister Delaney had asked you about some particular visitors that she would have no business knowing about.
Yeah.
But somehow she knows.
Okay. What do you know about that?
I know you've been visited, asked to search for someone, tasked. Haven't you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
are you willing to fulfill your task, Father Marcus?
I was told there are still things happening in that place. We have the town hall tonight, so at the very least I can petition. Well, I'll see what the plans are, and then if we need to go there, and even if it's just take a look, we can help some kind of way. Why you keep looking at me like that?
Going
Why?
back to Pennhurst now, are we?
I don't want to.
You don't want to, but will you? Will you go back to the pits? Will you go back to the pits, Father? Will you go back into the maw? And as she says that, you can see her face is getting like crazier and crazier, and her voice is getting louder, and you're just frozen in fear. And you can feel her reach her hands out and like grip both of your shoulders. And her grip is icy. And as her face continues to contort, you like look into her eyes as they're just black, and you feel this intense fear. And you start to have flashbacks to the days of when you would be roaming the halls of Pennhurst, giving the final words to those who've lost their lives, remembering the insects crawling over everyone and everything, the children, both child and adult alike, on floors, haunched, moaning, gripping their skulls, wishing for silence. All of this comes flooding back as she just grips your shoulders. And you realize... Yeah. Go ahead. You realize that she's walked you to the edge of the Schuylkill River bank. And as she's gripping your shoulders and holding you there, will you go back into the maw, Father?
I have to. Save one more, I guess I would.
It's your duty, after all, right?
You keep calling me a father, and I'm not. But
Not.
I will always try to help if I can.
Try, you will. And fail. Fail and fall into despair. And she like creaks up with her head, and you can almost hear the bones cracking in her neck as she contorts it upwards towards the sky. And she takes a big sniff and she goes, "Come, Father. It's time to cleanse that stain you call a soul. And as she says this, her nails begin to rip and pop as they extend into claws, and they're piercing the flesh on your shoulders. Give me an endure injury roll, please.
Cool. 42 plus 0. That is a failure.
Okay.
That is 7.
It is a failure. So with that failure, let's look at... Again, failure means you could die. Okay, all right. So on that, you do receive a pretty critical wound.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So you receive a critical wound from this. You can feel her nails that have turned into claws, like going through your shoulders, but ever so slowly, like they're growing out from her nail beds into your shoulders. And you can feel her gripping you there. And you are powerless to stop this. And you feel terrified. And she starts to drag you down into the water, taking you deeper and deeper until you're almost fully submerged. And with the force of her hands, she says, "Time to cleanse. Down and by the river we go." And she pushes you down beneath the water. And what would have been sand and rock and dirt at the bottom of the river, because it's obviously not that deep, it is now a vast and deep abyss. And you can feel yourself falling through the water, as if you'd be falling through air, but now you're falling through this dark, inky black water. And as you look up, the contorted face of her just grows smaller and smaller. And you give me a how about give me a keep it together.
It's willpower?
Yep, that's a willpower.
That is a 12. A mixed success.
Mixed success. Okay. All right. You will be haunted by this experience at a later time.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely real. That's 100% true. Like couple minutes from now, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. So as you start falling further and further, give me one more roll, and that would be a see through the illusion.
Oh, that is plus soul.
Yes.
Right. That's a 4. That's a failure.
Okay. All right. So as you're getting deeper and deeper, you're falling for what feels like an eternity. Fear creeps in and takes over, and you attempt to scream as your lungs begin to fill with water, and you get the sense that you're going to drown. And as you begin to flail, you come to again in your bathtub. And the thrust of your emergence from the water sends it sloshing about the room. And you take a moment to catch your breath. You never left your tub.
I feel my shoulders. They feel sore, but are there actual wounds there?
Yes, there are. Well, they're not necessarily wounds, but there are 5 distinct marks on both your shoulders where her claws had entered your skin. Almost as if they're like faded red. like little bee stings dotting your flesh in the marks of her hands. And you hear the shrill of your landline ringing downstairs.
Get my towel and wrap it around myself and go. I probably won't get there in time, but I will try. Answer the phone.
You like take your time, you go as fast as you can getting yourself together and getting yourself wrapped in your towel, and you get to the threshold of your stairs and it stops, but then immediately starts ringing again.
Oh, no, I guess if they wanted me, they'd keep calling. This is not the morning I planned. And I go to the phone. Hello?
Hello? Hello? Is this Father Marcus?
This is Marcus Hill. Who's calling?
I'm sorry to bother you. I know that you are no longer with us. This is Sister Beatrice.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Sister Beatrice. Oh. Do I know her?
With Mount Nazareth Cloister? You don't quite know me, but I know that you were close with Sister Delaney.
Yes, we were part of the same organization and we did work together.
I'm so sorry.
What happened?
She took her own life last night.
What?
We don't have much details, and I'm not...
What do you mean she took her own life? I just... Last night?
Last night.
Where is she? Where? What happened?
I'm not quite sure. We found her. We found her floating in the... We found her in the lake.
What?
She had a note on her.
What
all
did
it said was...
say?
It said Father Marcus knows the way.
What?
I don't know much else. I'm so sorry. I'm new to this and cloister and dear God, I've never experienced anything like this, Father, please.
You're not supposed to experience these things. These things aren't supposed to happen. Oh no. Okay.
Father, what of her soul? What will happen to her soul?
What you're gonna do is you're gonna pray for her. You're gonna pray for her soul so that it is saved.
Yes.
You can only do that. We know who she was, what she's done for the good of the people.
But she'll still burn, Father.
If the God is just, he will forgive. She will. We don't know what happened in her final moments. we can only hope that we could only hope.
Yes.
So pray for her.
You're right. We are hosting a service for her in the hopes that our prayers will help her along into everlasting. Oh, God. Father Marcus, I'm so sorry to be the one to tell you. And
No.
the phone hangs up with a click.
Yes. In the river. It was late. What? She was. Okay, I didn't. She wasn't here. And I rushed back into the kitchen. Look, no, the kettle's still there. My travel mug is in the cabinet. Okay, so I didn't leave. Okay, I didn't leave. But she spoke to me. Something she must have seen. It's possible no. There. To see the wrong things. This is weird. I haven't had anything like this happen before. I've been visited by people. Apparently, I had another one. Typically, they're not this close together, though.
Something is happening. More and more is ramping up. And,
Guess I'm gonna have to plead for a couple more souls. I didn't want to, but I guess I'm gonna have to. I'm not going back, but I will help. If I can.
as you stand in your kitchen, mulling that over, would you have taken down all of the crosses in your home?
No. There was one that's in. There's one that's in. Well, it's in a weird spot. Anything I could easily reach, yeah.
Okay.
It's not needed
So probably
anymore.
the one that would be like over your front door was still
Yeah.
around? Okay.
Yeah.
You hear the clatter of a metal cross hitting the floor. And as you step out and take a look at it, it is perfectly centered in the middle of the floor. And from your perspective, it's upside down. And with that, we will end this episode. Whew.
Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, we're good.
So,
yeah.
Next week we will start with the town council meeting, and we will have our mayor, Billy, with us, Tranquil Ashes. But now that we have finished this episode, I want to go around. The two of you can introduce yourselves, say where you're at on socials. If you'd like to say one thing that you really enjoyed from this session, or something that your character is afraid of, or something you're hoping doesn't, come back to haunt you, you can go ahead and say that. So let's actually start with Matt.
Yo, Matt. Known as Resmo. Many places in Samurai Warfare X. Others. I play D&D, and I also GM games. And I'm having fun with this character. They're cool. Play on many detectives, investigators, journalists, so to speak. I would like to see where it goes.
Very cool. And Rob?
Hey, Robert Madison II here. It's not Mad Dr. Rob on the everywheres. Like I'm getting blurry again. Boom, not blurry. Okay. Yeah, I am playing your prophet, Marcus Hill. Ex-father. Yeah, this is funky. I keep forgetting that people just show up and it's a thing.
Yep.
So yeah, who knows? Whatever. Who knows what people are?
You never know.
I don't even know if people are real anymore. That's great. Yet again, Rob Madison II, Mad Dr. Rob's on the everywheres. You can find me on the everywheres being Mad Dr. Rob. Also, you can catch me here as your resident map maker, and because I make the maps. And so, still working on getting everything lined up, but I'm gonna start getting another map out hopefully soon.
Yay!
I'm in the process of drafting some cool stuff, so hopefully I can go, that's the thing, and then put it up, and we'll
Maybe
go through it.
post Gen Con?
Yes, because we gonna be there, folks. So come check us out. If you've been in Gen Con, come say hi. We have a panel. It's gonna be dope. Our illustrious, brilliant founder, Bendy, has done all the, I don't know where you are, in one of those directions. I caught you in one of them. Yep. I have a brilliant game that they'll be running, and I did the maps for them. So if you're around, come see the maps, come see the game, and enjoy the mystery. But yeah, it's been fun, and let's see if Marcus can get over, all that, and figure out if people are actually real or not. See, it's not sure yet.
Well, hey y'all, I am Bendy, your story master this evening. You can find me on I guess Twitter's dead, so we gotta really start to pivot the socials, but you can find me hopefully on Blue Sky just as Bendy Dinosaurs. I'm gonna see if I can get that set up, but you can find Obsidian Brews wherever you can type in Obsidian Brews and find us. We will also be coming, as Rob said, we're going to be at Gen Con, and we'll be at Dragon Con doing panels and having a great time and excited to just hang out. So thank you so much for being here with us. The next episode will come out after Gen Con. We will all be there next weekend. So hopefully the weekend after, but stay tuned to social media for that. We thank you for being here. I am so thankful for my players, keeping on with me here and enduring all the crazy, horrific things that I have coming their way. So thank you all for being here too. We're Obsidian Brews, Black Tabletop Experience, and we appreciate you and have a good night.